Hey freaks, it's Phil. Hey, today we are going to be doing a little unboxing of a first aid emergency kit from a great company called MYFAK. And I want to bring this up because a lot of storm chasers are finding that if you're going to be chasing storms, you're likely going to be involved in some recovery efforts following a storm, and a lot of times immediately following a storm, which basically means while you're out chasing and the storm goes through, it could hit a home, could hit a business, could even hit a town. And you might find yourself all of a sudden in an emergency situation where you might have to help people. And you might be the official first responder before the true first responders can even get on site. So one of the things I wanted to do is really start promoting storm chaser safety. We've done that through a number of different avenues as far as education. You can always go back and listen and watch previous versions of Stormfront Freaks podcast and see some of the educational shows that we've had with storm chasers and meteorologists talking about, really how to storm chase or how to find and track storms. We've also had episodes with first responders where we've talked about basically what to do when you come across an emergency situation. Which as a storm chaser, I said, it's going to happen a lot. So I also wanted to reach out and kind of find out, hey, who's on the leading edge when it comes to emergency and first aid kits? Because the last thing really you want to do is get a first aid kit on say Amazon that comes with, some Band-Aids and some antibiotic ointment and just stuff that you're probably not going to use in a situation if a tornado takes apart a town, right? So you want to find something that can really be useful. I want to preface all this by saying you should also get trained to use this equipment, right? Highly recommend American Red Cross. Just take a first aid class, CPR class. There's lots of places you can go. We've had first responders on our show just talk about go to your local fire department and just ask them, where can I take a first aid class? Because a lot of times they might do that right there on site and be able to teach a first aid and CPR class for you there. But it's very important to get trained on some of this stuff because these tools aren't going to be useful if you don't know how to use them. And again, if you're going to commit to storm chasing, you should really commit to knowing that you might be in the situation and you should be trained to help people. So one of the things we're going to do tonight, so MYFAK is the company that everyone, all the first responders have come back and said, hey, these guys, this company has all this equipment, have some great tools and resources. And so I want to share with you tonight, MYFAK, one of their emergency kits is called the MYFAK Pro, MYFAK, MYFAK first aid kit, right? MYFAK Pro. And so we're going to walk through this a little bit tonight and sort of unbox this and really see what's involved. So I'm going to bring it into camera view here. This, as you can tell, it's about a 1 foot long kit. This thing is heavy duty. I've unzipped it here, but it's probably a good, 6 inches thick, 12 feet long. And I'm going to open this baby up, and you can see it's sort of like a folder that you might have at school a little bit, where you've got two sides with lots of pockets, and then in the middle, you also have like a sheet of what would be a sheet of paper, say in a 3-ring binder. Only this is another set of pockets on both sides. So this is a pretty well-established kit. Everything's packed in here nicely. And so I'm going to kind of slowly pull some things out and just kind of walk through what's all in this kit so you can realize how valuable this small and very compact bag that can easily fit in any car and not take up really much of any space can really be useful. Okay, so let's walk through this a little bit. You've got gloves, so there's a couple packs of gloves, like rubber nitrile gloves. Of course, you don't want to get any body fluids on you as well. Certainly, one of the things in here that I think is very vital when it comes to stop the bleed is the tourniquet. So there's a rapid tourniquet in here. Again, this is a a tool that I think it's very important that you become trained to be able to use. Like, you know how to use this, right? You don't just start slapping a tourniquet on someone that might be bleeding a little bit. So I highly recommend you get training there. And if nothing else, folks, honestly, there are videos on YouTube that you can watch on how to use a tourniquet, or what a tourniquet will do and not do, and the dangers of maybe using a tourniquet. There are videos on YouTube even that you can learn that. Now, I would highly recommend certainly take a class or make sure the video is from a credible source. But if nothing else, that's certainly going to be probably better than nothing. There's a burn kit, so some burn dressing in here if you come across anybody with burns. We've got Super Skin, which is basically to help. There's a couple different sizes of that in here, which is basically, these are kind of like Band-Aids, to be honest with you. Certainly those can come in handy. I was talking earlier that maybe don't go to Amazon, because those kits don't usually come with a lot of this other valuable stuff. There's some emergency pressure bandages, right? So this becomes very important if you come across somebody that does have an injury. To help stop the bleeding and you don't want to use a tourniquet, you can use a gauze pad and some dressing and wrap this around to help apply some pressure to the affected area. So there's a couple of those. There's also a whole pack of different sized gauzes as well. And it's really nice that they put these in these packs that are resealable, right? Like Ziploc bags. So you can open it up and still reuse it and keep the other ones that you're not using still safely in there. All right, I'm going to flip the center piece and go to the back portion. We have some paracord, which you never know when you might need some sturdy rope to help you with something. So there's some paracord there. Also in here, some scissors, which is good for cutting tape, good for cutting clothes, good for getting people out of situations that maybe they can't get out of on their own. It's important to have whether it's a knife or, in this case, a nice scissors that's got some protection to it. There's some tape, kind of some athletic tape, to help you secure any bandages and lots of other uses, of course, you might find. I'm looking through this pack, and I am seeing there is a thermometer in here. I don't know that it's probably easy to see on the camera, but there is a thermometer. I see a whistle. In here, it says it on the back. Sorry, whistle, pen light, pair of tweezers, a thermometer, and 5 thermometer sheaths. So that's a nice little Ziploc container pack right there. Pulling this out, we have a mini wound closure setup, which has a pack of wound closure strips and some skin glue. We also have zips. They call these zips. This comes with 2 zip devices. Looks like, my guess is they're closure devices. So this is kind of like a butterfly bandage to a certain extent that will help you close and seal open wounds, which also will certainly help you stop the bleeding. Dig a little deeper in here. I see a triangular bandage. Sometimes can be helpful for splinting or just immobilizing someone's arm. If there could be potential broken arm. Here's a cold pack. We know how these cold pack works, right? You just break it, shake it, and it's basically portable ice. There's some additional elastic bandages here. And last but not least, on this side, there is a sprain and fracture kit. This includes a finger splint and an adhesive bandage roll. So there's your splint for maybe a finger. So that's that side, and now let's jump to the middle pack here. At the top, what do we have here? So this is an Airway kit, nasal Airway kit. I'll be honest with you right now, this is something that with my first aid and even advanced first aid training, this is not something that I am trained to use. So I would definitely have to look into that a little bit further. But there are 2 of these, basically help open an airway through the nasal passages. And then along with that, this is kind of all airway gear here. There's a couple chest seal patches. So again, if someone has a chest puncture, this would be something that you could put over the puncture to help make sure that they're not losing or breathing in air through their wound. All right, jumping down to the bottom, this includes a hydration unit. What does this say? It says 2 hydration packets, water pollution tablets. So basically, these would be things that you can put in water. Instead of, if you don't have the ability to boil the water, you can put in water to make it drinkable and usable. There's also the CPR shield, which you can use if you're giving mouth-to-mouth resuscitation to a victim. That will help give you a little barrier between yourself. You put it over their mouth, but gives you a barrier between you and them. Then I flip that centerpiece over. Let's see what else we have in here. We've got medication. So this includes 4 ibuprofen, a fever reducer, a couple aspirin, some medicine. My wife's a pharmacist, but I am not. So looks like some medicine for diarrhea, nausea, Dramamine for motion sickness, some allergy relief, and a cold and flu med. So just a little pack of those little packs that you get at the gas station of medicine. So that's, again, all in one nice, neat little Ziploc container. You have a light stick. So if you have trouble, you're in the dark, having trouble seeing, you've got a light stick there. Here's some more of that super skin, which is like a bandage, but it's a little thicker. So it can give you a little more, it's thicker, right? So it's like in athletics, used to, and this might age me a little bit, but we call it moleskin. And you could put that over things like blisters, things like that, where you get a lot of rubbing, and it's just thicker than a bandage, so it provides a little better protection that way. We also have space blankets. So there's our Mylar space blanket we have in here. We have a container of liquid, small container of liquid called Super Wash. So my guess is this is probably just a simple saline you can use for eye wash, or even for cleaning wounds. Then you have they call it a treatment and relief mod. And this little pack contains 3 antibiotic tablets, ointments, 2 lip balms, some sunscreen, sting relief. You've got a little white petroleum. You've got some itch relief, oral pain relief, and some chafing cream in that one. And then you have a clean and prep mod, which again is this little kind of Ziploc container. And inside this, you have 4 antiseptic wipes, 4 hand sanitizers, and an iodine prep pad. So that is our MYFAK Pro. As you can see, this little 12-inch long packs a punch, no pun intended, but in the fact that there's a lot that you can do with what's in here to help a lot of people. So I highly recommend, whether it's this unit, they have smaller units and they have larger units. I mean, they have units with backpacks. They've got a lot of great stuff. If you're out in the wilderness, a lot of emergency items, again, a lot of that stuff might be in a backpack. You can also buy these little mods. So I'm talking about these little Ziploc containers that come with multiple stuff in them. You can buy those separately from MyMedic as well. I recommend you at least check it out. If you don't have a first aid kit, like a serious, good first aid kit for emergencies, right? Not just for, hey, I got stung by a bee, or hey, I got a cut on my finger and I need a Band-Aid. These guys carry some serious emergency items. So if you check out stormfrontfreaks.com, we will have a link on our homepage. Scroll down to the bottom and you can see the link to MyMedic. And a lot of times what we'll do is we'll show you what the deals are, what sales are going on, and you can check out from stormfrontfreaks.com. That'll send you to the MyMedic site and show you what the deals are and what's on sale. It also helps us out a little bit as well. Doesn't cost any more for you. In fact, we'll give you some access to some deals, but helps us out in the process so that we can continue to promote safe storm chaser activities and storm chaser safety through items like this. So thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. And I highly recommend go get trained, go get licensed, and go get your emergency kit.